Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. I hope that everyone is gaining something from my videos, and I hope that everyone is enjoying what I'm posting so far. So basically today I have a video. It's got quite a few points, but I'll try to keep it as brief as I can. And it is about tips, just general tips. So on being a more balanced, more steadfast believer. So here we go. So one thing that we can do as Muslims, we tend to try very, very hard to be perfect, I guess. Now, I think an example of sometimes what we do as Muslims, we can have examples of others that we look up to, and we can look up to their character, we can look up to their religion, we can think that some people have such a standard that we cannot attain ourselves. And this can be bad for us to try to be a perfect human being, a perfect Muslim, because the reality is that on this planet there's no such thing as the perfect human. Whether we can try or not, we're never going to reach a standard of 100% all the time. So if we can be more moderate in ourselves and our religion, be realistic with our goals, and try to be good, not perfect, because there's a time and place for trying harder than normal. But the thing about our religion is we're aiming to keep our practice going for our whole life, essentially. So if we want to be moderate in ourselves, we have to realize that we're going to live a certain way, and have a certain standard for the way that we do things in a way that's going to endure for inshallah, until we go, essentially. So yeah, that's the first thing. And the second thing is to pray 5 times. So for me, what I find in my life is if I'm not praying 5 times, I feel bad. I don't feel as successful. I don't feel as clear-minded. I don't feel as peaceful. And one thing is that usually, if there's something wrong with your salah, you will have a burden of guilt or of dis-ease within yourself, and this will chase you around all day. You'll be thinking, why am I not praying? Why am I not doing the best that I should be doing, right? And the way around this is to basically to uphold your salah. And believe me, you will find that you'll be so much better, not just in a spiritual sense, but in a sense of your worldly affairs as well. So try it, and yeah, it'll do you good. So that's the second thing. Now the third thing is to choose the way of mercy. So this is not exactly a concrete thing to aim for. This is more or less to do with our relationships between each other. And what I want to say is that our Prophet, as an example, was very, very, very merciful. If we look at the way he dealt with others, he would always be patient, and he would always have compassion. And usually, if it came down to essentially being strict or having some kind of goodness, yeah, I think that he would show as much mercy as he possibly could, as much as he could, right? So that's one thing that I want to say. I guess in our relationships with others, if we might be too pushy, or if we might maybe try to impose our interpretation of religion on others, try to be more like a prophet, try to be more embracing, and remember that we are all trying to adopt this way of life. So if we can make sure that that's our goal, to make sure that whoever we're dealing with is we have a long-term vision in sight. We're not basically trying to condemn them and say, look, mate, you're out of line and you're going to hell. That's not the way. You want to show them the way to Jannah, right? So that's the third thing. And the fourth thing, I want to basically say this sort of with a hint of irony, because basically it would do me out of a position right now. But this fourth point is to take a break from the internet. Now, I know that the internet hasn't always been the way it is now, but basically what happens with a lot of things like Facebook, with Instagram, with YouTube, it finds out what you like, and then it kind of does this to you. It kind of basically gets you to follow this very, very narrow line. It'll give you advertisements. It'll suggest everything that you're looking up, and it'll just push it all on you all at once. Now, this can be very harmful because we want to be broad-minded and we want to have perspective, but on the internet, I mean, the way that it works, it basically tries to push as much as it can of what you are doing onto you, and it makes you have a very, very narrow view of things. So for me, what I find is that I get many, many religious reminders, and God bless the sheikhs that are making these reminders. But the thing is that if we get too much of these, we can find that it can become a bit of an imposition. It can make us feel overburdened. It can make us feel overwhelmed. And we want to essentially live a moderate life where we have our worldly life and our religion. So if all that we're getting is reminders all the time, and we're not focused on the present life, this can really, really damage our outlook on things. So take a break from the internet, get out and play some soccer, or do something worldly, as well as going online and looking for guidance as well. So there's that. And another thing is to try da'wah. Now, for me, what I find in my religion is that when I'm giving da'wah, when I'm basically reminding or sharing my religion with other people, it really strengthens your religion in here. So basically, in a country such as New Zealand, Islam is not the main religion. So we're basically put in these scenarios where we have all of our guidance, and then we have this other reality to deal with as well. So what giving da'wah does, it basically sets the bar and says, even when there is another reality out there that may not do things quite the same as us, we're still going to stand strong, and we're still going to say, look, this is my religion, and this is the way I like to live, and you can share, and you can say anything you want about how we like to see life. And it kind of, for me, it actually it can strengthen relationships. It helps people to know where we stand. So I guess they can understand us more as well. And it is very rewarding. So if we can do that as much as we can, you'll find a lot of benefit. And it's a good thing. So that's another thing. Now, I have 6 more things, so bear with me. I will keep them as brief as I can. Now, the 6th thing is to have spiritual goals. So, for the Muslim, the most clear goal for every Muslim is to live a good life and to reach our goal with more good on our scale than we have of sin, right? So I guess when our goal is to essentially graduate this present life and have a good afterlife, that's one goal that we can have. But in the meantime, we need to have a bit more guidance. So how are we going to achieve this goal of an afterlife? What are some things that we want to have in here in the meantime? So such goals can be to have more peace, to be happier, to be nicer to friends, to be nicer to family, or more graceful, more patient with our kin, and it can be anything to share the religion more, to uphold the Quran. It can be anything. So think about what your spiritual goals could be, and try to attain these, as well as keeping in mind that we have this eternal goal as well, and that might help to give you a bit of perspective. So that's another thing. And another thing here, and this is a theme that I'm actually trying to really push home on a lot of Muslims out there, is to not be extreme. Now, I guess I don't know if this is something wrong with the way that things are, but it can be very easy to become somewhat judgmental or somewhat overburdened in ourselves, and to try and think that we can become like a perfect example of humanity within a day, or to do anything like this. And the reality is that we all have a certain amount of this that we can take before we burn out and we say, look, I've had enough with Islam, I can't do it anymore. Or to say, like, I just want to have a bit of fun. I mean, we shouldn't, like, having fun isn't haram. We're still allowed to joke, we're still allowed to laugh. And when we take religion too seriously, we can become very oppressive. And we want to be examples of Islam to others. So if we're very serious all the time, this can be very off-putting. So just keep in mind that that extremes in religion can be very detrimental to us. So that's that. And I have another thing here, and this kind of goes out of the ordinary for things that I might normally talk about. But this thing here is to choose love over hate. Now, when I say this, I'm specifically alluding to some of the injustices that are happening to the world, essentially. Now, I know we have plenty examples of places where there is, I think the word is tumult, like basic, just absolute chaos. There is a lot going on around the world, and what I want to say is that in these instances we have two options. We can basically choose to have blank hatred towards those that are committing these acts of oppression against others. Like we know what's happening in Sudan, Kashmir, and as well as Palestine and Burma, and everywhere. I mean, there's no place in the whole world that is actually free from oppression. I mean, right now is probably a time where it's very rare to find somewhere in the world that isn't dealing with some kind of dhulm, and however we choose to see these things is going to determine how they turn out. So basically, if we look at our enemies with blank hatred, and we see that the only way to defeat them is by sort of putting them in a box and trying to basically adopt their evil as a way to combat them, that's not going to win. I mean, the way that we're going to reach our goal of of success is to stand in solidarity as much as we can with those who are being oppressed, whether they're Muslim or non-Muslim. And I guess if we can choose to have compassion, have mercy, have understanding for those who are being oppressed, and to make supplications and to give charity and to do as much good as we can in a compassionate way, rather than saying, look, these guys are hating us, so let's hate them back. That's just going to cause us to adopt their stance, and it's going to cause us to become just as bad as them. So the way to a good outcome is to stand in solidarity with those who are being oppressed and to support them as much as we can. with mercy, with compassion, and with goodness. And basically, love will always endure, whereas hate is so fleeting that it will essentially destroy everything that it encounters. So just don't fall into this trap and try to be better than those who are oppressors. Now, I have 3 more things, so bear with me. This next thing is to follow the example of our prophets and not to follow a sheikh. Now, when I say this, I don't mean that we shouldn't have teachers, because the reality of acquiring knowledge is that we need to seek someone or something in order to enlighten us. But what I mean here is that we shouldn't take someone's example to be perfect. We should never take someone's words to be like so true or so we shouldn't take someone's words to have all of the weight of the world in them. We should understand that our way to success is to follow the words of our prophet, and basically this is the way to success, is to not blind follow anyone's example within reason, and to take our example from our Nabi. Now, I have two other points, and that is to live a balanced life. That's the first one, and I'll just go into that while I can. So, when I say to live a balanced life, what I mean is to balance our worldly affairs with our religion. Now, what can happen with us is we can basically get stuck in a trap where we see everything as a matter of religion, and we forget about our share in this world. So it's important to know that it's not a noble thing to give up your present world in pursuit of religion. It's actually more realistic to have worldly goals as well as having goals in Deen. So just be careful that you don't give up on your aspirations. You don't try to become like a monk, because that's no way to success. Basically, try to live more or less a balanced life, and this is the way to success. Now, the last thing I've written down is to be friendly. So basically here, as Muslims, we are all examples of one another. So whenever we do something as a Muslim, we're essentially saying to others that this is the way that a Muslim acts. So I guess when we are kind, when we are friendly, when we are good, when we are nice, when we're honest, we are basically saying to the rest of the world that this is how a Muslim acts, and this is an example of what you are going to see from others in the community. Whereas on the other hand, if we're unkind, if we're mean, if we're vicious, we are going to send a signal to others that Islam is this oppressive thing, and they're not going to want to ever become a Muslim if we show them that we are mean, I guess. So that's all that I want to talk about today. If you've gained anything from this video, that's good. And yeah, I hope that you're learning or taking anything good from this video as much as you can. So thank you very much, and thank you. Stay tuned for more.